Over $500 billion is currently being poured into silicon and steel. Wall Street and Silicon Valley are funding a massive build-out of data centers and advanced TPUs, constructing the physical compute infrastructure for the next generation of software. This immense capital expenditure is driven by a singular claim: the imminent arrival of artificial general intelligence. We are told systems that can reason, create, and completely replace human labor are just around the corner. The funds fueling this race originate in the concentrated wealth of Silicon Valley and top-tier investment firms. They are underwriting the most expensive computing infrastructure ever conceived. But beneath the surface of this infrastructure race, the underlying financial math is struggling to reconcile the scale of the investment with the reality of the returns. Operating these large language models requires a staggering amount of continuous capital. Beyond the initial hardware purchases, the daily energy consumption and compute requirements to process user queries are draining resources at an alarming rate. This chart reveals the reality of that burn rate. If we compare the accelerating costs of AI infrastructure against the actual revenue everyday businesses generate from integrating it, we see a massive disparity. Companies are paying premium prices for AI tools, but they're seeing a microscopic return on that investment. If the enterprise sector isn't generating the profits to cover these massive operational costs, a serious question emerges. What secret financial engine is actually keeping this $500 billion build-out alive? The answer lies in a hidden mechanism operating quietly behind the scenes. It is a system of self-sustaining finance known as the circular capital loop. This flowchart illustrates exactly how it works. Let's track a single investment dollar. It starts its journey as venture debt or equity, injected into the system by a Wall Street fund. That dollar is quickly allocated to an AI foundation model lab, the specific startups that are actually building the software. But the money doesn't stay there. To train their models, the AI lab must immediately spend that dollar on compute power, sending it straight into the balance sheets of the major chip makers and cloud providers. Big tech invests in the AI lab. The AI lab buys compute from big tech. They are continuously trading the same balance sheet capital back and forth, artificially inflating the valuations of every company inside the loop. The fatal flaw in this system is its isolation. There is virtually zero organic revenue from everyday businesses entering this ecosystem to replace the cash being burned on electricity and hardware. Because this closed loop operates at a permanent, massive deficit, the missing money has to come from somewhere else. It must be extracted from outside the tech sector entirely. While the core decisions are made in Silicon Valley boardrooms, the financial weight of this speculative boom is falling directly on the middle class and everyday consumers. First, consider your utility bills. Local grids are raising electricity tariffs on residential consumers to subsidize the massive power required by hyperscale data centers. Second, we are seeing widespread quiet price hikes across everyday software subscriptions. The digital tools you rely on for work and personal organization are steadily becoming more expensive. Tech companies are not absorbing the exorbitant compute costs of running these new AI features. Instead, they are passing their hidden server inflation directly down to the end user. Finally, traditional corporations are executing preemptive headcount reductions. They use the promise of AI automation as a convenient cover to lay off workers, desperately trying to protect shrinking profit margins. The financial pain points appearing in your daily life, higher utility bills, costly software subscriptions, and job insecurity, are actively plugging the multi-billion-dollar hole in this unproven gamble. This brings us to a critical inflection point. What happens to the broader macroeconomy when this compute bubble deflates and the circular loop finally breaks? We have seen this specific anatomy of speculative capital burn and delayed adoption before. It mirrors the exact conditions that led to the dot-com crash at the turn of the millennium. The sheer physical scale of this data center expansion also reflects the late 90s telecommunications boom, where companies laid millions of miles of fiber optic cable. Both of those historical crashes shared a single fatal symptom. Industries built massive physical capacity for a wave of consumer demand that simply never materialized. We are currently trapped in a repetition of that exact economic hubris. The only difference is that today's infrastructure is engineered on a much larger and significantly more dangerous scale. The current AI expansion is operating as a systemic mechanism for wealth extraction. This leads to a final, difficult question. Is this a genuine technological breakthrough or a meticulously engineered transfer of wealth? We want to know where you stand on this. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and let's debate the reality of this market. And if you want to continue uncovering the financial mechanisms driving our world, subscribe to Legacy Economics for the raw truth behind the headlines.